The Saucony Koa ST. This thing has monster grip. In fact, this thing's got more grip than a gorilla. So this is the Saucony Koa ST, and this thing is designed for mud, deep mud, slippery. In fact, it's got the word mud written right there. So you are under no illusion with this bad boy, with these monstrous 8mm lugs on the bottom, that this thing was designed for serious mud, serious gloopy sticky mud. The basics on this shoe, well, you've got this quite sort of very synthetic feeling upper with these welded overlays. It doesn't feel quite your normal sort of material. You've got this interesting sort of quick lace design, but a weird thing is it's got a quick lace design. It's got a hole there. There's nothing there. I mean, this is obviously if you wanted to do the lace lock technique, but there is no thing. Now, interestingly, Saucony have two Koa type shoes. As we can see there, it says Koa. This is the ST, this is the seriously grippy one. They also do a TR version, which I will review separately because I've got that as well. That one's designed more for buffed out trails. This is more your heavy duty, wet, muddy stuff. We've got a 4mm heel to toe drop. We've got, obviously, as I've already mentioned, a very, very grippy, luggy outsole. We shall come more into that later. It has a mixture of foam and their Everrun. So you've got a layer of their Everrun material there to give you a very sort of cushioned ride. It also has more of an oblique shaped toe box. The idea gives you a little bit more room for your toes to splay. You've got serious protection around here. It's got like a big toe guard. And generally this is also quite rugged. It feels like it's there to protect you. Other interesting thing, you have your tongue here, and then there's like an extra shield here. So my finger is now between the tongue and this section here. So this is to keep debris out and stop it in. So instead of being like a gusseted tongue, which it is not, it doesn't need to be because it's got this thing here. The shoe fits true to size, and for a UK 11, which is what I run in, this comes in at 366 grams or 12 7/8 ounces. So what is great and what is not so great about this shoe? Well, I have done a good few miles in this, but specifically on the last weekend, I did an endurance event in extremely muddy, horrible, wet conditions where people were sliding all over the place, and people were sliding wearing trail shoes. I didn't start off the race wearing these. I didn't realise quite how bad the conditions were going to be, but I very quickly switched to these shoes, put them on, and to be frank, in terrible, terrible conditions, they perform better than I think they had any right to do. The grip from this sole, it blew me away. It felt so planted. It's so well keyed in to the mud. It was only when I was literally going through a cloddy, horrible, muddy field when the mud did start to cake away. And as soon as I got out of that field, it would then shed the mud really quickly. And to be frank, it just performed amazingly. I can't tell you how, or I can't begin to tell you how impressed I was with how well this thing performed. It also, going through loads of mud, loads of big puddles, loads of water, the protection of the upper, keeping my foot dry, was equally impressive. In actual fact, the entire shoe really, really looked after my foot. I had grip when I could see other people didn't have grip. I was not sliding when I could see other people were sliding. And the vast majority of these people were wearing trail shoes of some type, some kind of issue. The organisers had warned us that we needed trail shoes, so pretty much everybody who had trail shoes was wearing trail shoes. And I felt that when I switched to these, I was a lot less affected by very challenging, muddy, wet conditions than some of the other runners. Didn't mean I had their skill level, I certainly didn't, but at least the shoe was doing as well as I think any shoe could do in really, really challenging conditions. It just gripped, it clawed into the ground, it keyed in, it didn't slide, it was comfortable for the whole race. This oblique toe box, yeah, that works. It felt comfortable the whole way around. The cushioning, there's a fair bit of foam here. This is not the lightest shoe in the world really, but the foam, the ride, that was good over, again, sort of undulating, sort of wibbly wobbly ground at times where mud was moving, stones, you couldn't see through all the puddles. No issue. The cushioning worked almost like an off-road car suspension, just absorbing some of the ruts and some of the stones and stuff, whilst at the same time protecting me. There's actually quite a bit of extra cushioning. It feels like extra cushioning around the heel. So that, again, the comfort wise was good. I didn't get any debris get into the shoe. And with the amount of water and muddy water of that, I was amazed that there wasn't stuff getting in here. They don't say this is waterproof, this upper, but it feels as near as damn it waterproof to me. I was hugely impressed with this shoe. I have to say, it did everything that I could possibly ask of it. It got everything thrown at it, and in the worst conditions, in the crucible of a proper trail race, I ended up doing a full marathon that day. This thing just ground on and on and on and was fine. And then unbelievably to me, when I came back, and it was caked in mud. I mean, I had mud all around here. I was wearing running leggings. I had the bit of my sock that was exposed was all crusty with mud. I had mud up my legs and up my I had mud everywhere. I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a nightmare to clean these things up. Literally 5 minutes under a hot tap with just a loose brush, cleaned it all up, and it's done. I mean, and look at it. It now looks almost like new. A little bit of mud here and there, which is there, but I mean, it even cleaned up easily. So yeah, really, really impressed with almost every aspect of the shoe. But it's not all champagne corks and party hats. What are the things that are not so great about this shoe? Well, I don't know if I'd call them criticisms, but there's a couple of things that maybe you want to be aware of. Because these lugs are so aggressive, 8mm, I would say, or in my opinion, I think this is a shoe that I'm only going to be wearing 4, maybe 5 months of the year. I don't see me wearing this in the summer because it needs that wet mud to key into. Fair enough, it does say mud there, so you know that that's what this shoe is about. If you haven't got wet sloppy mud for it to key into, if the trail is buffed out, if you don't think you're going to be going on that much wet mud, this isn't going to really work so well. It's designed for one thing. It's designed for that tough, wet, sloppy mud. And to be fair, I'm fine with that because you know what the shoe's about. You get it, say, yeah, I understand. Wet, gloopy mud, awesome. Otherwise, you don't need this. This isn't going to work for you, and there are probably other options. To be fair, there are other options that Saucony themselves actually make. So that's one thing. The other thing, or a couple of other little things, I did get a little bit of heel slip when the mud was really gloopy and it was sort of sucking at the shoe. I was getting a little bit of heel slip. Now, normally I would be thinking, oh, I'll do the lace lock technique next time I wear this to sort of try and dial that heel in a bit more. But because it's got this weird, well, it's not weird, but it's got this sort of quick lacing system, it has the holes for lace lock, but you can't use them because this isn't connected to it. And I kind of think, you missed a trick there. Why have you got the holes and you're not using them? Because I think it could have benefited from using those holes, but unless I cut into this, I don't see how I can use the lace lock bits without a pair of scissors and some new laces, and I don't really want to cut into them. I like to leave shoes, pretty much as they came from the factory. Now, I wasn't getting heel slip when I was just running through the normal stuff. And yes, I am being hypercritical, but it says mud on the shoe. So you think, well, I would have just liked that a little bit dialed in. It seems like it could have been with these holes, but yeah, but I am being hyper critical there. And the other thing that is maybe just more of a worry, it's not something I've been able to test as yet, not effectively, is this thing was so good at keeping water out. I worry what it's going to be like when you're doing like an obstacle course race and basically you wade through a lake, and therefore the water's going to get in the top. There's nothing the shoe can do about that. How is it going to be at shedding water? How good is this upper material at shedding water? That's something I don't know. I did think about, you know, putting my foot in a bucket of water and running up and down the road. No, I decided against that. I will take this to an OCR, but my first OCR this season, I'm recording this in January. I don't think my first OCR is until end of March, beginning of April, something like that. Can't remember the date. So I will test it then, and once I've tested it, I'll maybe leave some comments below or something like that. If you have run in this shoe and had it fully submerged and then sort of come out of a lake or a stream or something and found what it's like to shed water, please leave that in the comments below how you found it did, because I'm really curious, and I think if you're someone who wants to use this shoe for OCR type activities, you would be curious about, and I think this would probably be good for OCRs. With that little caveat, I haven't really been able to test that. I did think about waiting to do the review until I'd done that, but it's like another 2 months away, so I thought I'd put it out there now. And it was so good at this last weekend, it really did blow my socks off. So if it does shed water well, then this would be an absolute OCR beast for those real muddy, boggy, slippery type races that we get. Maybe not so much the ones in the summer, depending on where you are in the world and what the weather's been like and what the weather's been like on the run up to the race. But yeah, I am really looking forward to trying this when we get into the spring, when the OCR season kind of kicks off a little bit, just to see how it does, because I think it would be really well. As I say, if it sheds some water okay, doesn't even have to be amazing at shedding water, just okay, and I would be very happy with it still. So for me, yeah, I really enjoyed this shoe. So it's got to be a 5-star shoe. I think with the caveat that yes, you need the ground to be right for this thing to fully work, but if you're running in those wet, muddy conditions, my God, this thing will look after you. It's a really impressive bit of kit. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.